What's up, everybody? This is the Disciple Rick back with you for another podcast. And before I get started, I'd like to ask you to hit that like and the subscribe button. We get that algorithm working. The more you click on that, the more I get posted up. I want to get some other folks, ex-J-Dubs too, to take a listen to this. On this one, I guess I just had to call it my rant because I found some stuff that kind of irritated me. And I was already kind of bothered by the thing that happened with those two elders in Illinois. And they had some more stuff come out for the elders in Illinois. And I just had to talk about that. Now, in case you don't know what it is, there were two elders in Illinois, two older men. I think one was 72, the other was 88 years old. And they were taken to trial and charged by a prosecutor in Illinois. I mean, you can look these details up. But they were taken to trial because back in 2006, they said they had failed to report a child molestation case. They failed to report it to the authorities. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is back in 2006, and back in 2006, I was still an elder. And I'm going to tell you this, that even back then, as it is now, call the legal department. That's what you do. You call service, then call legal. And the service department would kind of click you in with legal, click off. Once they found out what state you were in, they would click off until the brother legal told them that, all right, you can click back in, we done. And you would tell them the case, tell them the situation, and they would tell you whether or not you had to report this to the authorities. How you heard it, blah, 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 back in 2006. All right, so they took these men to trial. So this prosecutor was going to go after some religious folks who failed to report. Now, look, they were found guilty, but it was a Class A misdemeanor. Okay, so the result was court supervision and some community service. So, I don't care about that. That's minor. I hate that would be on these men's record at this stage of their life, but I do care about them going to trial because they were following the direction from the organization. And we followed the direction anytime you heard about it. So they say, they're going to tell you what the laws in your state, how they affect you. Or let me say this. They're going to tell you how the laws in the state protect the organization. But we were under the impression that they were giving us advice on how to protect ourselves because they did not explain it clearly. And now I'm going to tell you that this case sends shockwaves through a lot of religious institutions to see that a prosecutor will now come after the low-level people instead of going after the organization itself. But in terms of Jehovah's Witnesses, these men got prosecuted. Now, look, let me ask you this. Think about this. Do you think that the organization paid for their attorneys? I'm going to say absolutely not. Because the organization has been distancing itself from the elders for quite a while. At least since 2014, maybe even sooner than that. That's one of the things that I saw. And one of the reasons I was like, yeah, this elder stuff got to come to an end. Because they distancing themselves from me. When you call the branch, you call your branch office, and you tell them about the case, and they put you on with the legal department, you better understand that you are getting advice to protect the department, not you. Or excuse me, not the department, but the branch, the organization. They're not trying to protect the elders. See, I don't think then, because they gave them that advice, I don't think that they would pay for their attorneys. I think those men had to come out their own pockets for that. And then it really, legally, it wouldn't make sense, because then it's tying you to the elders. And if they, let's say they reimburse them for the cost, they say, look, send your expenses up here, we'll reimburse you. Then that probably could be found out. I just don't think that they did. I don't know for sure, but I don't think that they did. I don't think that they would. I think those men were on their own. This governing body, in my opinion, from the time I was there, and let's say I've been going since the end of 2015, they have no loyalty. And they were telling us this by the way they did the congregations. And how they started doing with the body of elders. They had no loyalty. When they changed that arrangement to get rid of the district overseers, that was a big, and when it's going to be a circuit overseer, and then the circuit overseer really is going to be a facilitator and advisor. He is not going to appoint. It's going to be up to the elders to appoint and remove. When they went to that arrangement, they were telling you, we out of it. If you make a bad decision and y'all get sued, they're suing you. And I couldn't go with that one. I just couldn't go with that. Look, I'm gonna tell you this quick story. What happened? There's a brother. I think he died. He used to be the spokesman for the organization. His name was J.R. Brown. Some of you may remember him. Now, J.R. Brown was like very well known among black boomers. Okay, back when the organization had it was still, I think they still got some racist folks, but they had these racist policies. A lot of black men, to get into the circuit work, black couples, they had to go special pioneer in the South back in the day. So, you know, they'd send them down like they was missionaries, the black brothers. So anyway, it was back in the 60s. So anyway, J.R. Brown and it was a couple other brothers that was real tight. So they were down in the South special pioneering. And then after King got killed, they took Brown and a couple other brothers, brought them into the city areas. And now they were circuit overseers back then. And then they became district overseers. But Brown was considered, at that time, he was a pretty good orator, speaker. So Brown was so good that he started developing a following. I mean, people were following him from congregation to congregation. He would pack the house. So a lot of boomers knew who he was. All right. So from what I was told was that they had to pull J.R. Brown out of the field and bring him to Bethel because he was developing such a following among blacks. All right. Anyway, we got him down here to give a talk at our hall. And he came, he gave the Saturday talk, and then he did his 2 Sunday talks at the hall. And now we were taking him to the airport. So on our way, we stopped at this restaurant, and for him and his wife, got them something to eat. So anyway, a friend of mine who was in the same congregation as I was, ex-Bethelite, so he's talking to J.R. Brown. They're talking about, you know, how they were making decisions to send certain people out special pioneering, because when stuff got started. So Brown gave him some information about that. He was, you know, he kind of pushed a little bit, and so Brown came out with it. And he was older by then. I guess he didn't really care about letting information out. Plus, he knew the dude. All right, so things started going towards the children who were molested. And Brown made a statement that really stuck with me. And I'm going to tell you what he said. He said, well, if we find out that one of our elders molested a child quietly, we going to pay. I mean, he made that statement. And I'm going to tell you something. This is back in maybe, 2007, 2008. Hey, I felt really proud that he used the term our elders. They were going to protect their elders. And when I grew up, you would find out little stuff about big cases that regular publishers had, and the organization would then provide them the attorney. They send one of their attorneys to help them out with the case. Something going on, whatever the case, the organization would provide them an attorney. And you just, growing up in that era, you knew it had its stuff, but you knew that you can count on the organization. You felt like they had your back. And at that time when Brown said that, I felt like, oh, that's pretty good. I know the organization has my back. Hey, that was 2006, 2007, 2008. Things were changing rapidly. Now, you know the organization doesn't have your back. They will leave you, especially as an elder, they will leave you out to dry. And I picked that up back in 2014 when it was making these changes. Like, my wife and I, we talked about this. They will leave you out to dry. And then these folks would come after me if I made a bad decision, or if, let's say, I didn't know what was going on, and we made some sort of bad decision, and it came back to bite us, and this family wanted to sue me, then, or if the government wanted to sue me, take me to trial, then that's my assets. That's my money that I'm going to have to spend on attorneys to keep myself out of jail. And where's the organization in? We saw that. And I was like, oh, no, I ain't putting up with that. I'm out of here. See, now this situation in Illinois happens, and I'm being honest with y'all, I don't know if the organization provided or paid for the cost of the attorneys. I don't feel that they would. So which organization is, I don't think they would have done that. So to me, they left these men out to dry. Maybe somebody else has some more information as to if they did that or not. But to me, they left these men out to dry. Then they come out with this letter to all the Illinois body of elders talking about this training that they have to do with the state of Illinois. They have to do it every 3 years and whatnot. So when you're filling out the questionnaire, it's training for child sexual abuse. So you have to fill out this questionnaire, and they don't want you to say that you're a Jehovah's Witness, or they don't want you to identify your congregation. They told them that. You just tell them that you're a religious volunteer. You don't tell them that you're an elder in your congregation. Don't let them know, or don't tell them that you're an employee of any of Watchtower, or you have any affiliation with Watchtower. And of course, as an elder, you're not an employee of the organization. But they want you to do these things. Now, on the surface, it seems reasonable. You don't need to let anybody know, the government, the state of Illinois, know who you're with on that documentation that you're filling out in order to take this class. But you have to take the class so these folks will know you're affiliated with somebody. And if you have to take that class, that means that you're serving in a religious capacity of authority, some shepherding or pastoral capacity. So you're affecting people. The government then will know that just by your name. And they can get the rest. They can find out the rest even though you don't put it there, if they choose to. But they don't want you to show that you have any affiliation with that organization. And what does that say to you? To me, it's saying that they want, or they are continuing to distance themselves from the bodies of elders in the congregations. See, one thing that happened back in the 80s when they got asked that question, when this congregation took them to court for the quick build, the remodels, and they didn't want to remodel, and they were like, well, look, we are our own congregation, we have to pay for it, and we don't want to pay for it. We think it's just fine. But the organization was like, no, you gotta gotta pay for it, and you're gonna take all the stuff that we say to do to pay for it. And so this congregation took them to court, and the judge says, well, look, I heard all the sides, but I gotta ask you, Watchtower, are you guys congregational or hierarchical? So they said, Judge, we're going to get back with you on that. So they went and discussed it, and they came back and they said, we are hierarchical. Okay, well, then now y'all got to pay. Y'all got to follow what the hierarchy says. Now they have come out in a child sexual abuse case and said that no, we're congregational. This is after all these changes. Now the judge didn't believe them because they're not. Honestly, they're legally now they are congregational, but culturally they're still hierarchical. But the fact that they came out legally and said that we are congregational in the U.S. should make you think and make you want to change things. Because if you go look at your corporate documents and your bylaws, if you sell that Kingdom Hall, they get the money. Watchtower does. Not the publishers who bought it. Not the publishers. Or the members now of the corporation who are the publishers. Not the publishers who pay to maintain it. Not the publishers who will pay to remodel it. No, they don't get the money. The organization gets the money if you sell the hall. I'd go change my corporate documents. And even though I remember when I was secretary of a title holding congregation, and this is in the 2000s, our corporate documents were way behind. So I had to bring those corporate documents up to the current standard of the organization. So they had never changed it. So the congregation in their corporate documentation still was basically congregational, not hierarchical. So I had to, follow my instructions. And I brought those documents up when that should have been brought up back in the 80s. So, we like 20 years out of compliance. Anyway, now they're going back to saying they're congregational. I would make those changes so that your publishers, if you had to sell the hall, they get the money, not the organization. Because they have no loyalty towards you, but yet they still want to pretend that they're hierarchical because they send all the information for the meetings. They control when a circuit overseer comes. They give all the outlines. They do all the stuff to show that they're still hierarchical, but then they say if something comes up and you get sued, then you're congregational. Y'all own your own. Okay, well, if I'm on my own, I'm going to keep my own money. So I think the elders should consider that. I'm just putting it out there. I'm also put this out there, too. Look, if you're PMO or maybe you're JW or whatever the case, and you've got a loved one who is serving as an elder, you should talk to them about getting that pastoral insurance. Now, I don't know if you can get it, but you should talk about it because JW Watchtower does not certify you anymore. Now, I've seen some things on that pastoral insurance where you have to have like a certain degree level in divinity, maybe a master's degree in divinity, and you have to have a certification from your religious institution. And Watchtower definitely does not do that. So you may not be able to get it, but even if you're ex-JW and you still got a loved one, you got to think, if they get sued, that's your inheritance. That's out the window. If they get taken to trial, that's your money. If you are JW, and maybe it's your husband, that's your resources if he gets sued. See, now, y'all have to struggle. This is just self-preservation, self-protection. I mean, you got health insurance, don't you? And maybe you're healthy, but you still got health insurance. You got car insurance, or maybe you never had an accident. Well, if he decides that he wants to stay an elder, you need to get some pastoral insurance in case you get sued. It doesn't mean you're going to get sued, in case you get sued. And then you really have to ask the question, if I got to do all this, if I'm in Illinois especially, I've got to take more time out my schedule to do this training in order to stay as an elder. I have to buy pastoral insurance in order to stay as an elder. Then I got to deal with all the stuff that you deal with as an elder for free. Now it's not for free. Now it costs you. It costs you money. Why is it worth staying as an elder when that organization has no loyalty to you? Why would you do that? That's what my wife and I discussed back in 2014 before this stuff got serious. And she was absolutely right when she brought that to me. And I was, yeah, that makes absolute sense. See, I didn't know about pastoral insurance back then, but I saw the handwriting on the wall when they separated us from the process and changed the whole hierarchy. I saw it. Because someone now, they can't sue the organization, they can sue me and the other elders at that congregation personally. I'm out. So look, I just wanted to throw that out there. Y'all consider this. Consider this. Don't let yourself get caught out there. And why stay as an elder when you have no backup? Now it's costing you money. They ain't paying you. The congregation ain't paying you. It's costing you money. And if they're going congregational and you want to remain the elder, why not do it like the Southern Baptists do? Even as the scriptures say do, that congregation should pay you for your time. They should pay you. If you serving them, you taking up your time is valuable. And the way they can show that they value your time is to give you men a salary. It doesn't have to be much, but it should be something to show that they value you. Because the organization, by wanting you to volunteer to do all this and going congregational instead of hierarchical, they don't pay you. They don't value you. And they're hanging you out to dry to show they don't value you. All right, y'all, that's my rant. I'll get back to my normal stuff next time. All right, y'all take care. This is the Disciple Rick. I'm signing out, and I'll talk to y'all later.